You can have it on. You can have it over.
Or sorry, I mean like they're like on to here.
Can you hear it?
No.
Let me see. I bet you it's not plugged in. No, it is plugged in. What about? Also, these aren't this isn't my headphones, so I don't know how it sounds.
Hello?
Talking to it.
No, not yet.
You can't hear anything still? Let's see. We can also try to pair of headphones.
Hello?
Those don't look like the most expensive ones, you know?
That's all right.
You want to try? Yeah, I'll get them. Why am I going to have you get anything?
I mean, I can grab them if you want.
No. It's like I said the other day. I'm like, I know you have a leg injury, but at the same time, like when you're just thinking, you're like, oh yeah, like
little things, yeah.
Yeah, little things like that.
It's been the same for me myself learning about it.
Yeah. When I was in 8th grade, I broke my leg in half playing baseball.
Jesus.
So I hated not doing anything, which I'm sure you're in the same boat.
It's awkward accepting help, and you don't want to seem like you're like, oh, help me with everything.
Yeah, but like that's how you kind of have to be.
Hello.
Is it better there?
No, this isn't working either.
So this part's only being seen on the video version of this episode. If you listen to the episode as a podcast, you will actually not hear this part. So if you're the eagle-eyed listeners and watchers, I guess just watchers, are looking and like, that looks different. You are correct. So the open and close actually got corrupted after recording. Luckily, the recording itself completely fine. I had plenty of backups, although it didn't get corrupted at all. But the opening and closing did not work. So I had to re-record the open and close. For the audio side, no one's going to know the difference. But the people watching, you get a little sneak peek behind the scenes, I guess. So this part is only for video, not for audio. We're going to start the episode now. I just wanted to fill people in so they're not like, what is going on? Here we go. Welcome to episode 38 of All Ears with Chris Schnabel. I am your host, Chris Schnabel, and I've been so excited to have all these great guests. But my favorite guests to have on are the people I've met in the Gonzaga community. And today we have another great Gonzaga guest. She is one of the most decorated Gonzaga athletes, soccer athletes overall that you're going to find on campus. Well, not on campus anymore. I guess now back on campus, but you'll learn more about that as it goes on. She's one of the most decorated athletes from campus. She led the team to one of the best records, if not the best record they've ever had on the field. Soccer star. She was drafted into the NWSL this past spring, and she had an injury. So her story is amazing. So I want to welcome everybody, Jordan Thompson, to the podcast.
So thanks for joining in.
Of course.
Thanks for coming in. Thanks for flying all the way out here just for this.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
I know that's all it was for. You
yes,
came out here
of course.
just for that. But so let's go through. I want to start right on. We won't start with the big thing.
Okay.
We'll start with, so when you got done with your career, because I was wondering this for the whole time. You got done with your career, and there was only, 2 rounds or 3 rounds this year, or 4 rounds? It was like
4.
It got cut down though, right?
No, they added a round.
Okay.
So last year it was 3, and then this year it was 4.
So when you were done with your career, how did you know it's to declare for the draft? Because it was such a late pick. Like, what is there? I don't know anything about any. It's not the NWSL. It's not MLS. I don't know anything about any soccer.
That's okay.
So like, it's anything. So when you actually declared, like, was there someone that said like, hey, you have a chance at this, or is there a big board somewhere? Like, how did you know like it was time to declare? And
so I knew I wanted to play after. Obviously, like NWSL was like the dream goal. It was like that was where I wanted to be, but I didn't know if it was super likely. So I was like, okay, I want to play. They always have the draft as an option to enter. So they basically, it opens registration, you register, and then you're done. Mm-hmm. And I forget, I think it opened like a month before the actual draft was. So it opened up in January or maybe even December. So I knew that just from other players and having other friends that had entered the draft before, that was, if you want to play in the NWSL, like that's basically what you have to do. There's some other ways that you can get in, but that's the main way you get in is through the draft. So I just entered it and was like, you know what, we'll just stick my name out there. We'll try. And if that doesn't work out, then I'll go abroad. And honestly, I kind of weighed the options of if I wanted to go abroad or wanted to stay in the States and play. And I eventually decided that I wanted to stay in the NWSL, but a lot of people will choose to go abroad for other reasons. But again, I didn't really know how much of a chance I had. So I hired an agent, and the whole season I was working on putting my highlight video together, because that's a big part of the draft is you send your film out to everybody. So I was working on putting a CV together, which is basically like a player resume.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I've done those with high school football players before,
cool.
So I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
so I worked on putting my CV together, worked on putting my highlight film together, and then was working with my agent throughout all of fall, just kind of figuring out, okay, where should I go? What are the options? What do we think? And he was definitely enter the draft. And so that was a big push, and he did a ton of work on the back end to get all of my information out to everybody. But you basically just put your name in the registration portal. It's your name, your stats. You can link your highlight video, your address, just basic information. Your highlight video and your player stats is really all it is. And then your player resume or your CV. And then I think it gets sent out to all the teams. I honestly don't really know, but then once it gets sent out, then my agent was reaching out every week to different people, different teams, sending them my video, making sure they saw it. So I knew I needed to enter the draft just because that's kind of the natural progression and the first step you take to getting to play in the NWSL, but I would not have thought I would have ever been drafted.
It's funny when you explain that. I just think of a survey monkey.
Yeah, it was a little nicer than that, but it was pretty basic.
Yeah, because it's weird hearing that, because this is for a professional league, and you don't hear that any other league. You have to fill out this so they can send it to all the teams.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're recruiting for high school or for college again.
A little bit. I mean, it's definitely it was kind of similar with making the highlight film and putting together a resume, but I mean, it was obviously a lot more professional than going through.
So.
Yeah, no, definitely a lot more professional than it was getting ready for college or high school. But yeah, it was. I mean, I guess I really don't need any other information besides who you are and what college you play for, your references and stuff like that. So I was kind of surprised that it wasn't more intricate. But then at the end of the day, I was like, I mean, if they have my name and my highlight tape, I guess that's really all you need to decide if you want someone. So it was an interesting process.
So imagine you're sitting there with your family and friends on draft night,
just
waiting and waiting.
Yeah,
and
my
waiting.
mom wanted to have a bunch of people over, and I was like, absolutely not. We are gonna have no one over. I invited one of my best friends from high school to come over, my boyfriend, and then my sister and her husband, and then my mom and dad. My other sister was out of town, so she couldn't make it. But yeah, my mom wanted all these people to come over, and I was like, no, I'm not. I don't even think I'm getting drafted. It's really unlikely, and I don't want to watch it and have all these people waiting for me to be excited, and then nothing works out. So a little bit of my own being scared held me back from that. But it was really fun. Yeah, it was the morning of. I had texted my agent and was like, hey, do I need to do anything? Or the night before, I texted him, I was like, hey, do I need to do anything? And he's like, nope, it's all taken care of. Just hang tight and we'll see what happens. And I got a text from him that next morning, and he was like, keep your eye out for Washington Spirit. So I was like, okay, let's I guess good. I don't really know what to make of it. And I looked on their draft, all the draft picks, and I was like, oh, crap, they only have 2 picks. I was like, dang. And there was 280 or 290 something girls that declared for the draft. So I was like, okay, so I am looking for 2 picks, and I am one of 290. I'll keep my eye out on them, but not going to get my hopes up or anything. So it was a long day. It was the longest day ever. So long.
So you have, look out for this. It's all right, cool, they're looking at me. And then the first round goes by, it's there's still one more pick. Then halfway through the second round, you're like, all right. And then it's getting towards the end, you're like, Europe ain't too bad.
Yeah, well, so their picks were 38 and 50, but they ended up trading for 3 more earlier. So every time they called it, well, not actually every time. I did not think I would, if I was picked, I was like, it's not going to be until the end of the 3rd or maybe the 4th round. So when they traded in the first 2 rounds were picks. I was like, my mom was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, no, like this won't be me. Like, trust me, it's okay. But it was crazy because they were showing reactions. So you got this like huge not pamphlet, but like basically like a Word doc of like, hey, if you're drafted from the NWSL the morning of, they're like, if you're drafted, these are the steps you need to take. These are all the Zoom links for the interviews you're going to do. This is the process kind of thing. And so watching some of the girls get drafted, I didn't know, like you see on NFL and stuff, they get a phone call before and they're like, oh my gosh, you're picked, congrats. Obviously NBA you don't, but if you're at the NBA draft, like you know you're getting picked up. And so I was like, okay, do we get a call? Do I not? So I'm like checking my phone every 2 seconds. My ringer's on. I have every like volume blasted. And you're watching the videos because you could submit reaction videos of you and your family. And some of them I was watching and I was like, they had no idea they were getting picked. Like that was genuine shock. But then some of them were live feeds of people as they were getting called. So I'm like, okay, you had to know you were getting picked because you got on the website, you went on the Zoom, you got it all set up. So I texted my agent and was like, hey, do they call you before they draft you? And he was like, usually they don't, but it depends, but I'd say probably not. So I'm like, okay, so they don't call me. So I like put my phone away. I'm like, I'm not going to stress out about that anymore. So then they got to pick 38 and I was like, okay, like I got a little nervous. And then they didn't call my name, and I was like, okay, that's okay. You know, like, we have one more pick. We'll see what happens. And then it was actually really funny. The 46th pick, they followed me on Instagram. And I, like, had just, like, picked up my phone just to look at it because I was like, oh, my goodness, this is taking a really long time. Like, it was, like, 4 hours. So I look at my phone, and I was like, Mom, they followed me. And so then I'm, like, actually freaking out. So I click on it, and they unfollowed me. And I was like, oh my God, what does this mean? So I text my agent immediately. I'm like, holy crap, they followed me, unfollowed me. What does this mean? And he just goes, interesting. So I'm like, okay, not giving me much to read off of.
What is that answer?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so I don't have an answer to what that means. So then I looked at their follower, like who they were following, and they were following Zags women's soccer. So I was like, okay, like I don't know why they would be following them. Mm-hmm. So at that point I was kind of like, I have to be the 50th pick. Like I would be shocked. But I also didn't want to get my hopes up. My mom was like, oh, like you might not be the 50th pick. Like they could just be following because they want to reach out. Because after the draft, you can also be a discovery player. So they would call you and be like, hey, you can be like, we didn't draft you, but we want you to come into preseason camp and try out. So she's like, they could be like looking at you for that. And I was like, okay, you're so right. And then like the 48th pick, I got a text from my agent and he was like, look out for a call from head coach Chris Ward. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. So yeah, the second they went on the clock for the 50th pick, my phone rang. Like literally it was like Washington Spirit, you're on the clock. The clock ticked 1 and my phone was ringing.
Wow.
And they have 5 minutes, so I picked it up and he's like, hi Jordan, this is Chris Ward from the Washington Spirit. Like, I just want to let you know your name's about to be called. And I was like, I'm going to throw up. Like my mom like took a video of me and I'm like, thank you so much. Like, this is so cool. And I'm just like sheer panic. And I don't know what to say. I'm like, this is not happening. There's absolutely no way. And so as I'm on the phone and he's like, all right, like we'll talk later. Like, we're really excited to have you. Enjoy the moment. It's super exciting. Celebrate with family, celebrate with friends. You'll have some phone calls you have to make, but then we'll catch up once everything's settled down and you've had a little bit to process. So I'm like, okay, thank you so much. Like, this is amazing. I had like processed in the middle of talking to him. I'm like, okay, like I'll talk to you later tonight. So we hang up, and I'm like, you guys, it's happening. And so they're like, okay, the pick is in. So my mom had like put the dogs away because I have 2 dogs and they're super loud. I have a lab and a GSP, so they're just crazy. Yeah. Put the dogs away. My 4-year-old niece was over. I forgot to mention her. She's playing in the front room. My grandma calls as my mom's like sitting down after putting everyone away and they're like, okay, the pick is in. And my grandma's like, what's going on? And my mom's like, Mom, shh, they're about to call her name. My sister calls. My other sister calls my stepdad and she's like, what's going on? He's like, shh, listen. And like literally like 20 seconds before they announce my name, my niece opens up the door, lets the dogs out. The dogs come sprinting into the room and she comes running in and goes, yay! And we were like, no! So then my mom's running back and forth trying to tell my grandma to be quiet so we can hear while my stepdad's telling my sister to listen while she's trying to put the dogs away, telling Evelyn to be quiet. And then as my mom sat down, they were like, Jordan Thompson. And then it was just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, it was crazy. It didn't even feel real. Sorry, that was a long-winded.
No, I love that answer.
Long-winded.
I was about to say, though, do you have, like, you said you could submit the things. Did you actually get a video of all
Yeah,
this?
I have a video of it. And it was kind of awkward because I was like trying to act surprised, but I was also smiling because I knew it was coming. So I'm like just sitting with my face trying to compress a smile. And then my mom freaks out and like jumps up and hugs me. And it was really cool.
It's funny, like the story is so 2022 that you heard because they followed you on Instagram.
I know.
And then they unfollowed you. And then you're like, what does this mean? Well, they still follow Zach.
I know.
Zach Soccer.
Just
It's
trying
like,
to connect the dots.
so odd. It's like it's just nothing you hear of. Like,
I know.
Even 5 years ago. Like,
It was pretty wild. I was like, oh, no way.
so that happens, and you get to training camp a little after that.
Yeah.
And you get in, and you're practicing in day 1, and then day 2 happens.
Day 2
And
happens.
Day 2 is the big day that you get hurt, you tear your ACL.
Yes.
Can you take us through that day a little bit?
Yeah, so it was just, like I said, like you were just saying, second day, was like halfway through practice. We were playing 9v9 to like end lines, and I intercepted a pass, went to turn, literally a turn I've made 1,000 times, and my foot just stuck in the turf, stayed, my hips went, and I heard a pop. I actually thought I broke my leg because it was so loud.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen a lot of people tear their ACL, been by a lot of people that have turned their ACL, and I like just have never heard any. They're usually loud, like you can usually hear them, but
Yeah.
it was so loud that I was playing outside back on the right side, and the opposite side center back, so the girl playing left center back said she heard it from
Wow.
where she was standing. Yeah, so tore it, thought I broke my leg because it was so loud, and I was just kind of sitting on the ground, and I was like, okay, that's not good. And I was in the fetal position, like I had my left leg was straight, but my right leg, I was like holding my knee up to my chest, and I was like, okay, that did not feel good. So my coach is standing over me, he's like, you're okay, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good, like I just need a second. And then the trainers come over and they're like, okay, can you straighten your leg for us? And I was like, no, I cannot. My muscles were just guarding so hard.
Mm-hmm.
I like physically could not straighten my own leg. So they straightened my leg out for me, and I look at it, I'm like, all right, well, it's not broken. And then once I realized it wasn't broken, I was like, oh, that was definitely my ACL that just ruptured. So I was like, okay, that's all right. So we sat there for a second, and then got up, walked off the field, went and did the tests in the training room. And then obviously not whenever you're just a female athlete, but especially a female athlete, when you're cutting, you hear a pop, your knee buckles, like first thing that you do is you test the ACL and then you get an MRI because a lot of times it is your ACL. So scheduled an MRI we went and saw the doctor the next day, and he didn't even do the MRI. He just like did the ACL test, and he's like, I'm really sorry, it's your ACL. Like, we'll get an MRI to confirm, but she gone. And she was gone. So yeah, it was definitely a little shocking because that was the first like major injury I've ever had. This is the first major injury I've ever had. I've had a couple broken bones, but nothing that has sidelined me really. So it's definitely shocking. And obviously, like, second day, rookie season, you're like super excited, ready to get in, want to prove yourself. And then I'm like, oh, I can't even like walk very well anymore. But they were super, super awesome about it and super helpful, very supportive. I actually like was overwhelmed by how supportive they were, just because, I mean, they don't owe me anything. I'm a rookie. I'm like I said, 2 days in, they didn't have to be nice. It could have just been like, well, sorry. Yeah, and I have no idea if that's how other teams work. I would imagine that's not how it works, but that was kind of what I prepared myself for as I was finding out. I was like, okay, like I need to be ready to just have it kind of everything be sidelined and be done, because I didn't want to go in and be like, oh, everything's going to be great, and then be crushed if it wasn't. But they were so nice, and the girls were so supportive. And a lot of girls on the team have torn their ACL previously, so that was super cool, kind of have like a community of people to lean on that team and also here at GU. But it was really nice having a group of people that know exactly what I'm going through, and all of them were like, hey, reach out, like, please call me, please text me if you have any questions, if you need help with anything, like, we've been there, we want to support you the best we can. So it was awesome. They made it like they made it okay.
Mm-hmm. I feel like, and I might be wrong, I feel like soccer is like, ACL tears are very common in soccer.
Yeah, in females especially. It's like the main injury besides concussions.
Is there a reason that it's more common in females?
I think like medically there's something with like our hips or our femurs are a different width than males. Don't quote me on that. I have no idea.
Write it down.
Yeah, if you could WebMD check me. But I think it's something to do with just like females builds. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. But it's very common, unfortunately.
Being the second day, did the speed of the game have anything to do with it too? Like, were you kind of like trying to move faster to try to keep up with people and it just happened?
No.
Or it's just freak injury?
It was literally just a freak injury. Like I said, it was literally just a turn I've made 1,000 times. And so I don't even know how to describe this for people that can't see me, but we were going like laterally, horizontally.
Upfield?
We were going upfield.
Or sideline?
Like we were so we were going like playing the length of the field.
Okay.
But I was doing a recovery run kind of diagonally.
Okay.
And I intercepted a ball sideline. This doesn't make any sense.
So you were taking, let me see if I get this.
Okay.
And this is going to be to see how you're descriptive.
Yes.
So you were going upfield.
Yes.
But you were taking an angle of pursuit towards the ball to intercept. So you were kind of going diagonally instead of going straight. So you're heading to the sideline while going upfield.
So opposite then. So I was recovering, so I was going back towards our own goal.
Okay, so you're going back.
But diagonally.
So the angle pursuit you're still going towards
still
the
have the
sideline.
angle. So I like kind of had lunged out because I saw she was going to play a ball down the line. So I'd kind of lunged out and intercepted it. And then as I was turning from that lunge to take a touch this way, because I was getting pressure closed on me from behind and in front. So I tried to take a touch to turn away from pressure, more infield is how I did it. So it wasn't like the speed of play or anything. It was just my foot getting freaking stuck in the turf.
I think that's why it's so big in soccer. And now I admit it. I don't know a lot about soccer. I do watch soccer, and I was a middle school soccer coach. B team.
Big time.
But I think it's because soccer has so many different movements, and your body is just not like it's not that it's not capable, but like movements you do in sports are just it's the same thing with baseball, with pitching. That's like not a natural movement.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with soccer. Like a lot of those movements you're making, like they look amazing and they're so impressive, but they're not like natural movements. So when you're doing it, your body just can't keep up with it. That's what happened to Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
All those years ago, he was just so physically great that his body couldn't keep up with how good he was at the sport, and it ended it. So I think that's why in soccer it's so much, because you're doing so many amazing moves, like things that most people's bodies are not even capable of attempting.
Yeah.
And your body just sometimes can't keep up with it or something like that, or just something's a little not stretched enough or something, and that's it.
And being on turf definitely has a role that it plays. I mean, turf's a lot harder on your body than playing on grass. So a lot of ACLs are done on turf. I have a handful are done on grass too, but a lot of them. I mean, saw OBJ in the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl,
just go to cut on the turf. And
are you more grass or turf?
Grass for sure. Yeah. I don't think I've ever met anybody.
But everyone's transitioning to turf.
Yeah, I think it depends. Like, we played on turf when we were indoors, but we have like grass fields that we play on. So we were only indoors because it was bad weather.
I would say that makes sense.
Yeah.
I say that, and then again, don't have this extensive knowledge.
Yeah,
of soccer,
I think it kind of depends on where you're at. I think people are on turf because it's cheaper to maintain than grass, especially when you're in a place like Arizona, where you are constantly having to water it, whatnot.
See, that's funny. I was going to say, if you're in a place like somewhere up north, like Minnesota or New England, I feel like you'd have turf because
of the snow. Yeah, weather, elementals. I just watched the new Spider-Man movie, so elementals was in my head. You want to get into the
Spider-Man? We can get
so
into that.
Good.
We can get into that after this.
I'm down. But yeah, the elements definitely have a role to play in grass, and it's a lot of maintenance to upkeep grass. So I would say people are transitioning, at least in women's soccer, people are starting to transition more to grass. Like a lot of the players, almost all of them, I don't want to speak for everyone, but everybody likes playing on grass. It's easier on your body. It's smoother. You don't get turf burns. So yeah, turf is, but I mean, I don't hate turf.
Yeah.
I would rather play grass. If I had to choose between turf and grass, I'd pick grass every time.
My whole life I played baseball, and I hated turf because, first of all, baseball fields shouldn't be turf. They should be grass and dirt. But there are always some of them, especially I'm from New York, so if you played in like New Jersey, they're all turf fields because they're connected to the football field.
Makes sense.
And sliding is the worst. Actually, do you...
Awful, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Oh my goodness, okay.
You're fine. Last year, here at Gonzaga, the baseball team, Stephen Lund broke his leg on a turf field at Wazoo because I got to see some of the footage because I work at broadcast, so I was able to see some of it. But you don't get like a look at what happened. But
No one
just
wants to relive that.
No, you don't want to see. That's what happened to my leg. What happened to his leg is what happened to my leg.
Goodness
So,
gracious.
You don't want to see that. But
he's also killing it now, though.
I know. He
on a side
jacked
note.
a home run the other day.
Killing it.
Yeah, he's doing
so
so
awesome.
good.
Anyways.
Again, another topic.
Yeah.
But with my knowledge of baseball and knowing turf, this is what I assumed happened. So it was on a double play or an attempted double play, and he's sliding into second. I bet you he slid at a regular baseball pace, what you would get on dirt. And you can't do that on turf. You have to almost like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 feet before. So he slid too soon. I bet you they have those things cemented right into the ground, clip the base, and snap the leg. Now I don't know if that's what happened. I wasn't there. I didn't really see it. But knowing baseball and knowing it was on double play, knowing he was sliding in when it happened, but that's why it shouldn't be turf. That's why it shouldn't be turf. I'm not a big fan of turf.
I'm not either. It
causes a lot of injuries. You slide on it, then you got that burn on there. You go take a shower, and you're like, I can't do this.
So bad, yes. Ugh.
It hurts, so I'm not a big
grass
fan.
all the way.
Grass all the way. Grass, dirt. Plus, you get grass stains on your white jerseys.
Look cool.
It's like, it looks great.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone knows you're a warrior. Like, there's so many good things about that. So after the injury happens and you get confirmed. You're confirmed the ACL. Was your first thought like, oh, I'm done? Like,
yeah, I mean, I knew I wasn't done playing soccer, but I didn't know if I would be done playing in the NWSL.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, oh God, this is terrible. Yeah, I mean, like, coming back wasn't necessarily like a question. It like I knew that I was going to keep playing, but it was like, am I going to keep playing pro, or is it like, and for me, like, I wanted to keep playing pro. So, but it was like, am I going to play in the NWSL, or am I going to go play somewhere else, or like
USL or
what's
Europe
that going to look like? But I was super, super fortunate, and the Spirit are an incredible organization. And like one of the first things that the coaches said to me is they're like, you'll be back for January. Like, don't even worry about it. You'll be back for preseason. Just take this time, heal, get ready for preseason, or be ready in February. Just like take this time, heal, do what you need to do to like be the best that you can be. Like, that's your role on the team now, is to come back better than you left it. So that like basically immediately took out all my stress, not all my stress, but a lot of my stress about worrying about, like, now I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about if I'm gonna get another shot next season. Like, I know that I'll have a shot as long as I rehab well, recover well, and am in a position to go out and play. So that was like, I'm very grateful for that. Like, and incredibly grateful.
You came back to Spokane to rehab and everything.
Yeah.
Was that your decision? How were they okay with that? Like, they didn't want their own personnel working on that? So
it's super interesting, and a lot different than my experience with college. Like, you get injured in college, you stay at college, and you do all your rehab here. But they're like, if you want to stay, you can. If you want to go, you can. Do what you need to do to like be the best that you can be. Like, if you want to be by family, go be by family. So I stayed in DC for 2 weeks. So like the first 2 weeks of preseason, went home for a week to LA. Well, I went to my dad's in LA for a week. And then went back to DC for another 2 weeks. So I did my surgery in DC with the team doc there. And then now I'm doing majority of my rehab here. And then I'll ideally go back to DC in August or when I'm cleared for non-contact. But yeah, they're super supportive. It was literally like, do what you need to do. Because, I mean, an injury is just as much mental as it is physical. And if you're in a place where you're not going to thrive mentally and you don't have the support that you want or that you're possibly going to need, it's really, really hard. So they were like, think about what you want to do, like, and do what you need to do.
Probably more so mentally. I mean, you don't want to get into a bad mental state.
Exactly.
And then, like, you're like, you get really out of shape, or you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore, or anything like that. So that makes sense. So Spokane's where you chose. Is that to be around the team or the trainers, or all of it?
Kind of all of it. Like, Kelly Needs, our athletic trainer here, is literally the greatest person I've ever met in my life. Like, she works day and night to keep people healthy and then to help people get back to their sport. And then U District obviously has a great PT, and our strength coaches here are amazing. And KB. So having, shout out KB, shout out Nick, shout out MT. So having Kelly here, having KB, Nick, MT here, having my PT Andrew over across the street, all in one area, it was kind of a no-brainer. Whereas if I went home to Seattle or LA, it was like, okay, I'm going to go to PT, but a lot of PTs will only get you in 2 or 3 times a day. Whereas now that I'm here, I can go every single day and do stuff. And then it was like, okay, I find my PT. Well, then I need to find a sports performance gym. And ideally, I need to find a sports performance coach that specializes in ACLs. So that's a whole other thing. And then it's like, okay, and then I need to find a place or a group to train with so that I can get ready. So, I mean, training with anybody is very far down the road, but at least I have that. Like, I have the fields here that I can use. I have the balls here I can use. I know some coaches that I can reach out to if I need them to help me get back to stuff. I have like I said, I have the weight room here that's a 2-minute walk from the field, who's a 2-minute walk from the training room, who's a 4-minute walk from U District. Like, everything's just in one area. And I just ultimately decided, like, this was the place that I was going to get the best care, the best treatment, and, like, was going to help prepare me the best for getting back in February.
Awesome. And you have the best sports system probably coming back here.
Definitely. Like, all my friends are still
here.
So yeah, it's been so fun. I've like ran into a couple. I just got back Tuesday, but all of them got back yesterday because of spring break.
Oh, of course.
So I haven't seen all of them yet, but the couple I've seen, it's been so exciting. I feel like Spokane's one of those places you leave and you're like, oh, I loved it, but you don't realize how much you miss it until you come back. And then once I was back, I was like, oh man, I missed it so much. So
yeah, I mean, you're going to realize this more as it goes. You spend probably some of the best years of your life here in Spokane, because college is by far the best years of your life. So you spend some of the best years of your life here. So when you're coming back, you left, even though it was a short amount of time, you're coming back to where that happened.
Yeah,
like, all
totally.
the nostalgia. It's like watching an old cartoon.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I love this.
This is great.
It's like the same thing. We talked off air about this. Now, I saw you at a Trader Joe's.
Yes.
And I want to tell you the story behind this. So I saw you. I saw you on the aisle, and I wasn't going to go down that aisle. I was like, oh, I'll go say hi. The second I started going down that aisle, I don't remember. It got hectic.
Yeah,
like,
there was so many people.
And I had my dog with me, and like I got there, and I was like, if I stop in this hallway with the dog and everything going on, it's just gonna be
too much.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be less awkward to be like, hey, I saw you. I walked right by you. I didn't say anything. Than stopping and going, hey, yeah, all right, see ya.
Bye.
Like, it just felt like better to just be like, yeah, I saw you, but it got really hectic.
Super fair.
Overwhelming, like crazy. And of course, the minute everybody's coming, the dog's going crazy.
Oh yeah.
Sadie's a very good dog.
She's so cute.
But when she gets out of hand, it's like what?
Well, and of course, everyone's gonna want to pet your dog if you stop. Like,
that's why I try to use the service one now, because
smart.
People will be like, "Oh, it's a service animal. You can't do it." But I don't think I had the service one that day. I think because usually I live right by the Trader Joe's.
Okay, cool.
So I walk the dog to the
nice.
Trader Joe's, pick up, and then we walk back. It's like 2.5 miles, 2 miles, something like that. So I think I just had the regular walking one on.
You're
and
like, oh no.
Yeah, it just got crazy. Actually, Sadie's getting a brother today. If you're listening to this, it happened already.
Oh
for
my
the recording,
gosh.
getting a brother today named Brady, and I'm so excited
That's
to go pick
so exciting.
them up from the airport and get to. Oh, I'm so excited.
Cute.
Another golden. What
puppies?
Complete white coat. Oh, you'll have to meet Brady,
Oh,
and you can meet Sadie as well.
Absolutely.
You did not get an introduction.
I
to
know.
Sadie.
I think I was like, cute.
Oh, hey, I think I know that person.
Yeah, I was
Dog's
like, wait a
cute.
second.
All right, cool. No, but you were also in the
little
chair,
scooter.
the little
Oh my
scooter.
gosh, I was having some troubles with that thing.
I always wanted to ride one. I broke my leg in 8th grade, and I always wanted to ride one of those scooters. I was in a wheelchair.
Okay.
But I was in a wheelchair, so I was like, you brought your own scooter.
Yeah,
you
you
don't
did
get one of
need one.
ours. But I was always like, man, that's. Then again, I don't know if I want to do that.
They're fun. They can pick up speed. That one was hard because a lot of them were like, you just like move it with your hands, and then as soon as you let go, it lets go. But that one would get stuck. And so I'd like think I was letting go, but I'd keep going forward and be like, oh shoot, I gotta ring that back. So there's
It's
a couple
almost like the beginning of a
close calls.
sitcom, like an episode of a sitcom. Then
I know.
in the thing, and you're like, I can't stop. And then
no.
of course at the end you run into that big stack of cans that
Yeah.
the person just got done putting
Exactly.
out.
Luckily,
and
I
they're
didn't
like,
do
"Oh."
that, but there were a couple close calls. But it has really good turning radius, which is shocking because the cart or like the basket in the front is so wide. But that thing whips pretty well.
You want to know something funny about shopping carts? Over years they've gotten bigger and bigger, and that's a mental thing with the people shopping, because you always like, oh, I can fit it in my cart, it can't be that much stuff.
Yeah.
So they're making them bigger and bigger. I don't know if you've noticed,
no.
the carts are actually getting bigger.
That is very
Has
interesting.
nothing to do with anything going on.
No, I love that. That's super interesting. I'm going to look for that now.
Yeah, look, when next time you go to Target, look at it. Like, if you remember when you first were going to grocery stores, I bet you the basket was almost parallel to the tires, and now they're over top the tires. They're getting bigger and bigger without anybody noticing. But that's because you can fit all this stuff in. You're like, oh, I can fit it in the cart. It can't be that much. But the carts are getting so much bigger. The smart way to do it is either a hand basket or put... I learned the other day, put the hand basket in the cart. Yeah. Then you can still push the cart, but you're not overfilling it.
That's a great idea.
There's a little shopping tip
for anyone listening.
Anyone listening that wants some shopping tips, I got you. I know you came to this one like... I wonder if they're going to say any shopping tips today.
Yeah, that's what they were looking for.
Well, this is a shopping podcast.
Perfect.
I know we were a little off topic in the beginning.
But now we're here.
But now we're here in the shopping in Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is a great place
Trader
as well.
Joe's.
I never used to go to Trader Joe's
Obsessed.
until I met my girlfriend who goes to Trader Joe's a lot.
Okay, yeah.
And then now I go to Trader Joe's.
It's the best place.
It
Their
is.
guilt-free mac and cheese is my favorite. I don't know why. It's not because it's guilt-free, but it's just...
Is it actually guilt-free or is that like the name?
That's what it says. It says it's guilt-free. I haven't really looked into the ingredients much.
It says it's guilt-free.
Yeah.
You turn it around.
Yeah, I don't need to worry about that, you know? But it's so good. So also get that if you're listening because it's delicious. I always have like 3 of them in my freezer at all times just in case. Super easy meal to pop in the freezer or in the microwave.
When you got her and they're saying like things to rehab and stuff like that, did they say like, you know, when you're eating, you might have to eat differently because you can't run, you can't exercise with your legs, so you don't want to like have bad habits. I don't know if you have bad habits. I'm not trying to say you have bad habits because you eat mac and cheese.
No, terrible. No. I mean, obviously nutrition is super important in any injury, and it's, I think especially with an injury like this, it's long term where you're not as active. It's finding the line between not eating too much, not eating too much, but not underfueling. Because I mean, your body's building new muscle, it's repairing tissue, it's healing you, and so if you're not fueling enough, you're not going to heal as easily and as fast and as well. But also, you got to be a little careful because if you overeat and you're not being as active. Yeah, you're not being as active, then that can kind of catch up to you, which I mean, I don't know. It's not, I don't know. I mean, no one really talked to me about it. It was just like, mostly I feel like it was like, hey, make sure you're eating enough.
I was going to say, I can tell nobody thought about this because you're like, in your head, you're thinking about it like, no one told me not to eat my mac and cheese.
Yeah, no, and I mean.
And I will not give it up.
No, absolutely not. I think everything in moderation, right? Like if you have to restrict your favorite foods, then that's just not fun. Like no one wants to do that, and then you're going to want it more. So it's more just like focusing on eating the same good foods, but maybe not eating as much. And honestly, like I haven't been as hungry because I haven't been running around practicing 3 hours a day. And my lifts right now, I just started upper body last week. Again, shout out KB, Nick, and MT. Again. But my lifts have basically, my workouts have been like working on flexing my quad, doing a leg raise, doing a quarter squat, stuff like that, doing a calf raise, learning how to re-walk. So I haven't been as hungry, but I just am really focusing on eating a lot of whole foods, and I drink bone broth every night, which not my favorite, but I heard it's good for your healing.
I was told that like yesterday, I think.
Really?
That bone broth is good for you.
Yeah, apparently it's good for you, and apparently it's like, okay, again, this is very not scientific, so don't back me up. Do your research.
This is a scientific podcast.
Yeah,
so
do your
you're
science.
You're going to get plenty of people
research,
saying.
Talk to your doctor, whatever. But yeah, I was told that like bone broth has helped with some healing, or maybe. So I'm like, whatever, might as well do what I can to try it out.
I'll have to look into it. I wonder why.
Yeah, I think it's because it's liquid collagen.
That makes sense, yeah.
And collagen obviously is like what makes up a lot of your like fibers and ligaments, I think.
Well, being bone, I guess that makes...
Yeah.
I guess I could have put 2 and 2 together.
So it's like, it's good for helping with ligament and tendon growth, and not growth, but just like strengthening them and helping with the damage that's been occurred to them, and especially in an ACL tear. I ruptured... Mine was literally like, looked like someone took a knife to it.
Ooh.
And usually it looks, apparently, according to Kelly, shout out Kelly, it looks like a horse's tail, like kind of frayed, and mine just straight up looked like it was like cut with a knife. Paper. Yeah, wow. I have a picture of it. I don't know if I can show it, but I don't know if
let's see it.
Do people want to see it?
I do.
Okay, I'll show you.
That's important to me. I want to see it.
I'll show you, but oh gosh.
I understand with the moderation as well. Moderation's so tough when you're used to doing something. But
So this is your ACL, and it's supposed to run there.
can I show it?
Yeah, I don't
For
care.
people that are watching?
Forewarning.
Let's see.
Oh, no.
There it is for anybody watching.
So the bottom white part is your ACL,
Huge right there. Okay.
and it's supposed to run
all the way
up. So mine is just absolutely gone.
Good. God.
But it looks a lot better than that now.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's looking great.
Now.
Shout out Dr. Bryant.
And it's been, 2 weeks now since it happened?
It'll be
Or
3 on
weeks?
Thursday.
3 on Thursday.
3 on Thursday. So I'm like 2.5 weeks post-op.
Nice. So I was saying, but I wanted to see that picture.
Yeah,
so I had
no,
to
for
see the
sure.
picture. I understand with moderation. I went on a huge weight loss starting in very beginning of 2020.
Okay.
So in the very beginning of 2020, I weighed 400 pounds.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I'm down to 220 now.
Nice.
I know, it's like crazy. But like one of the biggest things that I learned was like it doesn't actually matter what you eat. It's the amount of what you eat. And if you eat a ton of it, yeah, it's going to be bad. But like if you have something and you're eating a good portion of it, it's about portioning your foods. That's something I really learned. It's all about portioning your foods. And it's much better now. Now I'm like, it's also great because I've done it for so long now that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not hungry anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this is great. I don't
know.
need to keep eating and eating and eating.
That's like, it's so weird now. I get full and I'm like, oh, I'm full. Whereas before I was like, oh, I'm full. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, oh, I'm full. I like physically can't. Like I went to dinner the other night and I ate half my burger. I genuinely don't remember the last time I've eaten half a burger.
Wow.
I ate half a burger and I was
Done.
good for the night. And I was just sitting there in shock staring at my plate like,
just
who have I become?
Who is this
I'm like,
person?
wait a second.
How do I go back?
Yeah. But no, it's been good. Yeah, just like I said, focusing on eating like whole foods, making sure I'm not overfueling, but fueling enough so that I'm not underfueling or losing a ton of weight. We still want to stay strong and build the quad back up.
Yeah. So what do they say the timeline's going to be like? Is
Minimum
there
9
anything
months.
Oof.
So yeah, we're in it for the long haul, folks. Usually like 3 to 4 months, you can start doing just like straight ahead running. 6 months is usually non-contact, and then 9 months minimum. I don't know what comes after that, but again, like healing's not linear. I mean,
No,
you
can
could
be quicker. You can be
yeah, exactly.
longer.
Like it's a timeline, so you kind of have an idea and goals, but like just because I got my flexion, so like I have my flexion and extension I have a decent amount of it. I haven't gotten all of it back, but like just because someone hit their full flexion and full extension the second week of surgery doesn't mean I'm going to hit it even in my 6th week. Obviously you'd want to, and that's the goal, but everybody's body's different, right? So you can't hold on. I'm learning you can't really hold on to a timeline because you can have goals and have your goals for your timeline, but you can't put all your eggs in that basket, because if it comes to 6 months or August and I'm still not in non-contact, it's like, then I'm going to be super mad and disappointed, but also recognizing that my body needs time to heal, and that looks different for everybody.
It's good that you have that mindset. You're not like a stubborn injury athlete. Like, I was a stubborn injury athlete big time. I still am to this day.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're saying you kind of
I
are.
was.
You're trying to put it in the air so it happens.
Yeah, I like can't be with this. Like, I mean, Kelly will tell you, I am like so stubborn. I never ever want to come out. Like, even when I broke my hand, I had to sit out for a week and I was pissed. I was like, absolutely not. Like, I'm not doing that.
You don't even use your hands.
I know. I'm like, this is stupid, but obviously I needed to. Or she'd be like, oh, like, does this hurt? And I'm like, nope. And then I'm like, oh my God, this hurts so bad. And
It doesn't
I'm
hurt.
doing great. But this one definitely, especially with it being such a major injury, I'm committed to like just kind of being flexible and open, and not being angry or stubborn with my body or myself or the progress. Because, I mean, being mad for a week about a broken hand is a lot easier to do than being mad for 9 months about a knee. And that's just not going to be fun for anybody if I'm in a bad mood. And obviously that's not to say I don't get mad or get frustrated or get upset. Like, there's been plenty of days just in this like 2.5 weeks alone that I've been like, ugh, I'm so angry. Like, this makes me so upset. But then I'm like, you know what? My body's doing it the best that it can, and we're going to celebrate the small things. So then you learn to celebrate the small things. And, I mean, things get better each day. So I just try to focus on, like, okay, I put my sock on today, and yesterday I couldn't. Or today I was able to bike for 6 minutes, and yesterday I could only bike for 5. So just finding, like, the little things to hang on to has help me become less stubborn.
So what have you been doing since the injury then? Like, I mean, you're obviously not, you're working out, but you can't do the same type of stuff you were probably doing before. So
Yeah.
What's been the plan so far?
A lot of working on contracting my quad, because you lose like pretty much full control of your quad. And I've heard this from so many people before doing it, but I obviously don't really understand things until you go through them, and I fully understand them now. So like working on getting my quad control back, working on getting flexion and extension, full extension, full range of motion. Getting swelling down is a lot of the thing, because if you have swelling, then it's really hard to get extension and flexion because your swelling kind of takes up too much space. Oh gosh. Working on full rotations on the bike. Doing like single leg raises. Like I said, some squats. Did some RDLs today. Basically, and I'm spending a lot of time relearning how to walk, because I spent like a month locked in a brace straight, just kind of swinging my leg, not actually bending my knee. So relearning how to like bend my knee and walk normally has been a big focus. But
It's the weirdest part.
it's so strange. It's so hard. But yeah, a lot of it's just been like flexion, extension, working on getting the full range of motion.
Outside of workouts, though. This is what I meant more.
Oh,
of.
God,
Outside
sorry.
Of work. No,
That's
first
so
of all,
bad.
that's fine. That's why I let you go. I would have interrupted you
Thank
if I
you.
was like, no. But
Outside of workouts.
outside of workouts, like we talked about, first of all, you just saw Spider-Man? Just
Yeah.
now?
I know. Okay, so here's the thing. The last week I've been just watching movies like all day. But that's because it was spring break. School started back up today, so I'll be back on track with school and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I just watched Spider-Man. It was so good. So I've been watching a lot of movies. Honestly, I really haven't been doing much. Like, I got back on Tuesday, so kind of like moved in, got settled, and then would literally just go to rehab and then go home and hang out, watch movies and whatnot. But I'm excited because once I can start walking a little better, then I can like go on walks and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. But I haven't really been doing much.
Are
It's
superhero
so boring.
movies like your thing? Like, are you just kind of catching up because you had the time?
Both. I used to be super into them. Like Spider-Man was my favorite superhero growing up, and then I kind of just never really had time to watch a lot of movies. And I've been wanting to watch Spider-Man, but I just haven't gotten around to it. And then Kelly and I were talking. We're like, oh, we should go see a movie, because we haven't been to a movie since before COVID started. So we were like, oh, we should go see a movie. And we're like, oh my gosh, let's go see Spider-Man. But then I hadn't seen any of the Tom Holland ones, and she'd only seen one of them. So then we were like, all right, let's make this a Spider-Man marathon. So we one night we watched Homecoming, and then we watched Far From Home, and then the next day we went and did No Way Home. And it was so good. It was so fun.
It's such a good movie.
So good.
I'm huge
we
with
watched so I'd only seen the Andrew Garfield ones. I hadn't seen the Tobey Maguire ones. So we watched the 20-minute recap on YouTube of everything we needed to know.
Because you were probably really young when those came out, right?
Yeah.
Are you a 2000s or a late
I'm a
90s?
98.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that came out in 2002, I think, the first one.
Yeah, so I never watched the
definitely
Tobey
didn't go
Maguire
see
ones,
it.
no. And I'd only seen the first Andrew Garfield one, but we watched the recaps, which thank goodness we did, because otherwise it would have made no sense.
Yeah, you would have been like, what's
but
going on?
it was so good. I loved it. We loved it.
Yeah, it was that movie seemed like it was like a fan film.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't seem like it was an actual movie. It seemed like someone put that together
Yeah.
and put it out online, which was like
It was so good.
I'm big on all those. I love superhero movies. I'm a big Marvel person.
Okay.
When I was young, I'm a 90s kid. When I was
Love it.
young, we went to the flea market. I would buy Spider-Man comics at the flea market at this
Nice.
big bundle for 10 cents a piece, and I'd read them all. And then the movies started coming out when I was getting into my 10-ish. I think I'd be 9 or 10 when the first Spider-Man came out, and so big on the whole thing. So I saw it the day it opened.
That's so funny.
Literally the first showing, it was 3 days before opening on 3 p.m. I went to
my
that
gosh.
showing. I had to go see it. Well, I knew there would always be spoilers. And
Yeah,
a
true.
lot of people I know would spoil it.
Yeah,
they'd all see it.
fair
And they'd be like,
enough.
did you see it yet? Did you know this happened? And I'd be like, dude, what are you doing? So I had to go see it when it first came. I actually saw that, and I saw Batman the opening day, too.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm big on that. That's why I was like, I could talk about that. Trust me. I can go off on those movies.
Yeah,
but-
they're so good. I love them. I love the Marvel movies, but again, I just haven't really had time to watch them. So it was fine. Now I finally get what everyone's talking about, because you'd see all the things on Twitter. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's why I was like, you didn't see it yet?
makes sense. No, surprisingly, nothing was really ruined for me on Twitter.
Really?
Which is shocking, because I guess
Well, it's a
that's
good thing
my
you
version of spoilers.
When did you see it? Last week?
3 days ago.
Okay, so it's a good thing you did, because today the Spider-Man and Marvel accounts released the first 10 minutes of the movie.
What?
On Instagram. You can go on Instagram and watch the first
No
10
way.
minutes of the movie.
Well, yeah, thank goodness I did that. I
So
could
you'd
have been
be
terrible.
scrolling. If you had any of those, you'd be like, oh, I could watch the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's like spoilers in the first 10
There
minutes.
are
So
a
like,
lot.
You'd be like,
Dang.
What?
Why did I wait that long?
but you didn't. You did it just in time.
Yeah, thank
Just in
goodness.
time. Hey, you could have waited another week and probably just saw it when it came out on Disney Plus too.
I know. That's what we were thinking about, but then we were like, we really want to go to the movies and get popcorn. So we were like,
Of course.
and we went to the matinee, so it was 30% off. So
Okay.
it worked out.
So, was it the movies I was thinking of? No, it's not. It's their mini golf. Never mind. I was like, because I went to the movies recently. I also went to Flagstick
Okay.
to play mini golf.
That's fun.
On Thursdays, apparently, it's free for students.
Really?
I think that's what the sign said.
Okay, I might have to check that out.
I mean, I was like, I went on a Friday. I'm like, we should have went yesterday.
Yeah. Why didn't I know
I mean, it's
this?
only $8, so it's not like
Not a ton,
crazy,
but still, $0 is better than $8.
$0 is so much better.
Yeah.
My friend was like, this is gonna, this isn't like mini. It's a little tougher and stuff like that. And I think I hole in 1/6 of 9.
Oh,
It was.
I'm atrocious at golf and also mini golf. It's just I don't even keep track when I go because
Do you know why you're atrocious, or is it
I
just
have
'cause
zero
you just
hand-eye
hit the ball?
coordination,
Oh,
like
okay.
none, and I also don't really have the patience to do it. So I just am like,
Just hit it.
yep, let's
It'll
go.
The hole's
I'm in
over
for it.
there.
I don't really like calculating things. I'm just like, here we go.
Boom. Let's see
Yeah,
what happens. Well,
exactly.
the good thing with that course is that's kind of what it is. Like you just pick a spot to hit as hard as you can.
Yeah, and then you do it.
And then you do it, and
It's
it goes near
perfect.
the hole. So that's actually good. You know why it's like that too? It's because you go and you have a couple drinks
Yeah.
and you go play mini golf. A lot of people's hand-eye coordination is probably a little off. So they're like, we need it so it's like simple. We
Yeah,
need it so
not too
You hit it as
complex.
hard as you can at the wall, and it'll land somewhere near the hole.
You'll be fine.
Although I do have a gripe with that place. They have like these things that are supposed to be like little water pits, like in the regular golf.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't get it out if it goes. I never hit it in, but I saw someone do it and they couldn't get it out. I'm like, you literally have to pick it up and take it out
Oh
of the
no!
hole.
See, at that
Why
point,
would you do that?
that's why we just do like if you hit it in the pit or anything, you just go back to the beginning.
Yeah. Well,
Especially
that's,
if you like it's like your 6th time trying and you're in the hole. It's just like
it's
yeah,
good. So,
no.
so I'm sure the friends you go with are athletes, or most of them are athletes. I'd imagine.
Sometimes,
right?
yeah.
So it's a good thing you don't have competitive athletic friends that are like, nope, you hit it in the hole. That's plus
well,
2.
you know,
That's plus
sometimes
2.
we do, but we have to establish ground rules. Like you have to go into it with the like, okay, here's the thing, guys. I'm really bad. I'm not gonna win anyways. So me restarting, we'll just keep going.
Yeah, you
But-
keep your own score.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you keep your score, I'll keep mine. I'm gonna lose, so it doesn't matter. But we are pretty competitive.
The worst person in any sport, especially golf, is the person that keeps score for you when you don't want to keep score.
Yeah.
You're like, I didn't keep score for a reason.
Yeah.
I used to be kind of good at golf. Now, I like I said, I play baseball again after college, and I stopped playing golf because
Okay.
it really screws up your swing.
Yeah, I can
And
imagine.
So I would play golf after that, and I don't want to keep score because I know like I'm not that good anymore. I'm gonna have plus, and I stunk at putting. So I'm like, I don't want to keep score. And then like, oh, you're at +6, huh? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I told you I didn't
And
want to
in
do it.
last place.
And in last place.
Like,
Oh, we're in
shut
last
up.
place in this game. We decided to just come have fun at, huh?
Yeah, like,
that's
so much for fun.
Yeah, so much for fun. When I lived in New York, we would go, and that's actually what it would be, except we'd have one friend that would definitely keep score.
Yeah.
We'd all just go. You'd bring whatever pack of, and put it in the back of the thing, and then you just go and you hit the ball, and nobody's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, that's the best
Chase
way to
the
play it.
ball
Or
around.
like best shot. You just go put your ball by
Yeah.
whoever has the best shot, and you're like, all right, here I go.
When my dad would play leagues, he loved playing best shot. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like there's plenty of this in golf. Guy that can drive the heck out of the ball and then can't do anything from that. So like everyone just plays that
Yeah.
shot.
No, it's the best place.
It's-
Best way to go.
Yeah, but I haven't golfed in forever either. Oh, but I have mini golfed.
Okay, yeah.
The other day.
I was gonna say mini golf though.
At Flagstick. Although I don't drink, so that's probably why I was more coordinated than people too. I was
Probably
just-
why you're doing good.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this is so easy.
Yeah, what are you
Everyone
guys
else was like,
doing?
what do you mean, man? This is crazy. There's like 7 holes
This
over
is
there.
so hard.
Like, oh, this
There it
is
is,
why.
there it is.
There it is. So what are the plans now that, you still have some time to recover and stuff
Yeah.
like that?
Really the focus right now is finishing my master's, which I'll be done with in 8 weeks.
Oh, that was
really.
another thing I was going to ask, actually. Sorry to interrupt, but so when you got drafted, when I'm in school, was it now online or?
Yeah, so I'm doing my master's in organizational leadership, so it's always been online. And a huge reason of why I picked it, obviously, aside from wanting to learn more about leadership and kind of that role, was because it is online and it gave me the flexibility to be able to pursue my master's degree while also playing professionally somewhere. So I just kept doing it while I was there. I just like block off little times at night. that I would do my homework, or on our off days I would try to knock it all out. I actually knocked all of it out like 2 weeks early so it was done before surgery, because I didn't know how I was going to react for surgery. The 6-hour plane rides were nice, gave me a lot of time to kind of do everything. So I'm excited to finish it. It'll feel really good to be done with it.
Are you gonna be able to walk, you think? Maybe not walk actually, but walk.
Yeah, I honestly haven't thought about it. Like, I haven't even applied to graduate, which I'm realizing that I probably need to do.
Yeah, that's probably something you should
But I
do.
haven't seen an email about it. So I'm like, maybe I need to like look through
Sometimes
everything.
you gotta reach out to the people.
Yeah.
And they see something like, oh, well, your credits don't match here, and it's like, no. That's because this isn't done this way. The credits should match.
Yeah, so I'm
sometimes you gotta do that.
planning on walking. Yeah, we'll see. So I'm excited for that. So that'll be like kind of my, besides rehab, it'll be like rehab, finishing my master's, and then I don't know, I'm going to try to spend a lot of time with family that I haven't necessarily gotten to spend a lot of time with before. Obviously, like, I need to be here for rehab, but I have the flexibility to like go home on a weekend now, or go camping with my niece, or go fly out and visit my boyfriend. So I'm excited to do that, and obviously just to like hang out with my friends and enjoy things. I'm trying to find new hobbies. So if you have any suggestions, let me know.
Any suggestion I have is probably not something that be interesting. I just told you that I watch Marvel and read comic
Fair.
books. So
Those are good, though.
It depends on which one you get.
Yeah,
But
that's
fair. My taste is not for everybody unless you're like, oh yeah, this is what I've noticed. At this point in life, if you're not, oh yeah, I also do that, you're probably not getting on that. Probably not getting on that boat anytime soon. So but I realize that I'm not someone that's gonna push it or anything. I noticed.
Here's a suggestion.
This is what I do, and they're like, what do you got?
Anyways,
what do you have? What do you have there? But no, this is what I do. I do this podcast. I do school.
Love it.
That's about it.
Nice.
I have dogs.
Dogs.
You can come and
I
see the dogs whenever you
probably
want.
take you up on that. Yeah, so that's my plan.
If you need comfort, we'll have two golden retrievers.
My goodness, so cute.
The one is a service animal.
So excited.
So if, you need one going to a store, like, hey, I need a dog to go to the store. Like, oh, you need help guiding?
Stop by.
No, I need a dog.
No, I just need a dog.
There's a dog park down in South Hill.
Oh, cute.
Okay, if you go to this dog park, it's always packed. Has a ton of dogs. This is just for if you want to see more dogs.
Yeah,
this
which
obviously
everybody does.
If you want to see more dogs, there's a dog park. Where is it? It's if you're going down past the Target, then there's a Safeway there.
Okay.
And a gas station on the right side. Keep going past that, and then there's going to be a natural left turn. But you can go, and there's a cemetery on the right. Go past the cemetery, take that right. And there's this giant dog park.
Aww.
And there's always dogs there. Tons of them.
I love dogs.
Always there. And they're running around, and you can go up to any of them, and they all run up to you.
Aww.
And that's where I usually bring my dog when I want to bring her to the dog park and just play with dogs for an hour. I can bring something to do there. I can go work on a video or something. Let her do her thing, or throw the ball with her. Although if I want to throw the ball with her, I'll probably bring her somewhere else.
Yeah.
But that's just because you
Chaos.
throw a ball and then,
Everyone.
But if you were like, I need to see a dog right now,
and
there's no dog available at the time.
No dog in near sight.
We're going through a list of dogs. No dogs are available. Actually, all my girlfriend's friends now are also getting dogs, so there's like
so you're gonna have doggy play dates
all the time.
That's so fun.
I'm just so excited. I love dogs.
I know, I miss my dogs. That's the other thing. I'm gonna have my mom bring my dogs up whenever she can.
So is it tough to fly? Like you said, you go home, but you said you're not from Seattle. You're from the outskirts of Seattle, correct?
Yeah, like 45 minutes south of
You're
Seattle.
a small town girl, aren't you?
Very small.
So how far away from Seattle would you say it is, though?
It's 45 minutes, but that sounds like a lot from here. But, like, it's literally, I mean, when I was training to get ready to go to camp, I was driving up there every single day.
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad.
But with your injury, is it a little tougher to take the plane to Seattle? Because are you taking a plane to Seattle? I have to imagine because you can't drive.
I can't drive yet.
Yet.
So I'll probably...
Soon.
I dropped my ring, but that's okay. Sorry. I'll probably...
I don't think anyone's taking it.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I will probably drive... Once I'm, like, clear to drive, I think it would be fine. Flying's not too bad. The DC flight was pretty long, but the flight attendants were so nice and gave me like a bag of ice and let me keep my bags in front of me.
Do you get complimentary first class because of the injury?
No.
Oh.
My dad ended up booking me in first class though, so I would have the most leg room because I still couldn't sit with my leg at 90 degrees for more than like 10 minutes at a time. So he got me in aisles, and they like let me put my bags in front of me kind of in the aisle so I could keep my leg elevated.
That's good.
And then they like let me get up and walk around whenever I needed to, or like go stand by the flight attendants and talk to them just to move it around, which was super nice. So I imagine a 45 or like a 30-minute flight will be a lot easier to manage than a 6-hour flight. But for now, my mom's probably just gonna drive up to me or drive over to me.
And then drive back.
Yeah,
That's
and
gonna be
then
a lot
or
better.
fly over to me. But then once I'm more mobile, then I'll be able to go
I wasn't
home.
even thinking like getting through the plane or even I was thinking more
Like
of
security.
not even the security, like the elevation of the plane and
Oh.
the pressure on your
Yeah,
leg.
coming back from DC, I just wrapped it in 2 ace wraps and then wore leggings over it. So it swelled a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. But I think if I like went without any compression, it would
Yeah, it
balloon,
would
definitely.
swell up big time.
Yeah, so it was a little stiff after the flight, and had some swelling to work through, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I was really nervous and thought it was gonna hurt really bad, but it ended up being okay.
That's good. That was my initial thought. I was like, being on a plane and
Yeah.
pressure, that would stink. But also driving's gonna stink now because gas is like
Oh
$5.
my goodness, it's crazy how expensive
insane.
it is.
It's really crazy. So I got gas. Was at the beginning of last week. It was like $3.50.
Yeah,
I got
it went up so
yesterday,
fast.
and it was like 2 days ago. It was like
Yeah.
$4.40 or something like that.
It's unreal.
Just in the snap.
Biking.
Like, you're gonna bike all the way there.
Bike all the way to
Well,
Seattle.
you can't bike, so
With
you're gonna
my
ET
backpack
it. You're gonna
and-
ET it because someone's gonna bike.
Yeah,
for
someone's
you,
gonna bike for
and
me.
you're gonna sit in the little basket.
Exactly.
And when you can stand, you'll get pegs.
Yes, exactly. And then I'll just be on the back,
You'll be
right
on
on the
the
handlebars
back.
the whole way.
Right on the handlebars the whole way over.
Yeah.
That sounds like
Full
a plan.
like 250 miles.
That sounds like a plan. It shouldn't take
Can't.
that
It's
long.
foolproof.
Yeah, it can't take that
Foolproof.
long.
No.
There's
No
a
way.
road. Just go on the road.
Exactly. Could
That's
grab onto a car, hitch onto the back
Just
of
do it like, you ever see Back to the Future?
Not in a long time.
Yeah, but you do it like him in the beginning. You hold
Yeah.
on to the skateboard all the way to Seattle.
Thanks, guys.
All the way to Seattle. I'm sure that'll work.
Yeah,
I don't
easily.
see any flaws
No,
in that plan.
not at all. None whatsoever.
Book it.
It's perfect.
Book it.
I'm in.
I do want a bike, actually. Come to think. Do you have a bike here?
I don't, but I would look on Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Market.
There's
That's
usually
what I've been
like
told.
good bikes for a reasonable price.
Yeah, my girlfriend has a bike, and she used to live closer to campus, so I always used to bike to during baseball season. I work with
Okay,
video
cool.
here, so during baseball season, I'll just bike to campus.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. And then Tyler Rando, who was our neighbor, after every game would be like, bro, just throw the bike in the back, and I'll drive you home.
So
And I'm
nice.
like, no, like, this is my exercise for the
Yeah,
day, because
it's
I'm here
okay.
all day. Like, I have to exercise something. Like, you get to go on the field and play. Like, this is what I have to do to get my exercise, and I bike like 3 miles. Like,
Yeah, I like biking, especially when it gets nice. It's easy. Feels good to get some fresh air. Get your legs moving.
do you guys have like a good relationship with other teams around? Like, you're the soccer team. You were on the soccer team.
Yeah, definitely.
What would be like the teams you hung out with the most, you think?
Oh gosh, we hung out a lot with men's soccer, baseball here and there. I think it kind of depends. It's not like everybody has their own friend groups within the team. So like
Yeah.
when I was here, my friend groups were like men's soccer. When I like lived with a women's basketball player, had friends on men's basketball, had friends kind of in every sport. Men's tennis, women's rowing. So yeah, it's not really like, oh, we only hang out with these people, or like,
Yeah.
oh, we're like only this. I'd say we're like definitely closest to men's soccer, but we all hang out and like everybody's super friendly and whatnot.
What would you say, like, in your friend group when you're on campus, were most of them athletes? A good portion of them, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah,
Is it because of all the time? I've always wondered this because my best friend, when I was in college, like, still my best friend, actually, but, like, when I was in college, my best friend was on the football team.
Yeah.
And most of his friends were not athletes. But you don't see that anywhere. Usually the athletes hang out.
Yeah.
Like, almost like a clique. And I get it's because you spend a lot of time together. But, I mean, in class and stuff, you're meeting people outside of that, too, right?
Yeah, I mean, my first semester, I was friends with more non-athletes or like people that weren't on the athletic teams here, than I was with the athletes here. And then they were all a year older than me, though. So then once they graduated, then I kind of had so like my boyfriend, he doesn't play sport, and so like I met a ton of people through him. But then a lot of my other friends were athletes. Yeah, I guess it's. I mean,
You're just the
you're
guinea pig of
always-
this question because I've always I've noticed it.
I'm trying to
wondered it.
think. Like you're always with them. For example, like you come in summer, your first semester, your first year, you come in 6 weeks before school starts, and you live in the dorms with all the other freshman athletes that are doing it. So like you automatically are already just like put in with freshman
Yeah.
athletes, and then even though you're in class, you usually have like one or two of your teammates that are in there. So naturally, you're going to gravitate towards people.
Familiarity.
Yeah, people that you already know. You definitely like make friends a little bit here and there, but I mean, also like in fall, we miss so much school. Like we were missing like one class a week at least, 1 or 2 classes a week. So you don't have a ton of time, and then your schedule is a lot different. So it's hard to where people are going out on a Friday night and you have a game on Saturday, like you miss going out to do that. Or if people are going out to Barachos on Taco Tuesday, like you don't go to that because you have practice the next day or you're tired. And then, like then you end up living with your teammates and makes it a lot easier. But like one of my best friends, and I lived with her for my first 2 years, she was like my best friend from high school, didn't play sport here. But yeah, I guess it's just you do spend a lot of time with them.
Because I see what you're saying. You're funneled into it almost. Like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, you're going to make friends with your teammates either way, but you're almost funneled into, like, teammates you're going to have way more teammate friends because you just don't have the interactions with. Yeah,
well, even, like, our schedule, we were always gone freshman orientation. So, like, we had a game that...
You couldn't even meet that way.
No, so, like, I don't know anyone on my team and that went to all of freshman orientation.
Do you feel like you missed out on like college experiences sometimes?
I mean, kind of. Not like yes and no. Like definitely like missed out on a couple things that would have been fun, but at the same time, then you look at the other side and you're like, but I also got to play a Division I sport.
You're not like upset about any.
No,
of it,
like I wouldn't trade it for the world. But then, I mean, there are definitely things that people do that you're like, oh man, like that would have been fun. But then you also put it in perspective and you're like, okay, also though I'm literally playing my favorite sport in the world with my favorite people for school, and I get to do that every day. Like that's so cool. So I mean, of course you're gonna be like, oh, like I wish I could have gone to freshman orientation, or like I wish I could have played one more intramural sport, or maybe I don't know.
You don't have to lie. You probably like, oh, after that big basketball game, I wish I could have gone
somewhere,
or
like
even
one of
the
like
houses or Jack and Dan's or somewhere like where everybody
even
was
with like
celebrating.
Vegas, for example, like it's nice your senior year because you don't play in the spring, so you can go to Vegas.
Yeah.
But like my senior year, not my fifth year, I left obviously, but my senior year was COVID year, so we had a spring season, so we didn't get to go to Vegas.
That's right.
So like I never got to go to
That
Vegas,
was hectic.
Which is like so stupid. You're like, dang it, I didn't get to go to Vegas.
No,
but
I
also that's like
understand that.
such a huge part of the Gonzaga culture, or like tenting. There are very few games. I think there's been 1 or 2 games where we've actually been able to tent. But for example, then if all your friends are athletes, you all have practice, you can't always have someone in a tent.
Yeah.
And then
that's where it comes in handy to have the
exactly
non-athlete friends.
So then you're like, well, crap. So then we can't have everyone in our tent. Oh, also like, I don't want to sleep outside because I have practice the next day and I don't want to play like crap at practice.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I can't stand in line for 5 hours because I had practice for 4 hours and I went to work and I need to do my homework. So I don't have that luxury of not wasting, but like spending 5 hours in a line where I wish I could, but I couldn't. So just like little things like that where you're like, that would have been fun.
But I don't know at all. Like athletes have to have some way for them to get into some of these basketball games, right? Like because they know you can't go to Tent City. No, you have to do Tent City.
You have to like it's the same. Like we don't. A lot of universities will do like you have like a student athlete section or like.
That's what I figured. Like,
yeah,
maybe
we
not
don't
student
have
athlete
that
section, but like, okay, all
here's like a
athlete,
select number.
Here's 20 tickets for student athletes. You have to do not Tent City, but maybe online. Like you go.
Nothing like that. So if we want to like go to a basketball game, we have to like stand in line, which is. I mean, that's
cool because you're doing part of the Gonzaga experience.
It makes sense. Like that's part of the Gonzaga experience. But then sometimes when there's a ticket distribution and you're on the road and you don't get back until midnight, you're like, well, I really would have loved to go to the game, but I didn't even have an opportunity to go. So
are there any games that you didn't get the opportunity to go that you really wish you did? You go to UNC?
I went to UNC. That one was awesome. I waited in line for that one, and obviously it was over winter break. But I mean, I can't think of like a specific game. There were like some games that some of my friends that weren't on athletic teams went to and like did these huge things before and after that I was like, that would have been super fun.
You know, but
I couldn't.
I can already tell that's not like 100% your thing to go to the before party or after party, because if it really was, and I've seen this in other athletes, you'd find a way to get there.
Well, so, definitely, and that's the thing too. Like if you want to do it, like you can. It's just like
the other side's gonna hurt. Like if you're trying to balance both sides, one side's gonna take a hit, and that's the side that's probably gonna take the hit.
And sometimes it's worth it to take the hit. Honestly, like having a balance is so important, and it's college. You need to have fun. You need to spend time with your friends, but then also you need to like be able to perform the next day. So I don't know. Yeah, there's some things that definitely you're like, oh, I wish I could have done that, or like you're exhausted, and you're like, wow, I wish I only had to go to class today. Like I wish I could. Like, or for example, like on our off days, obviously people do more than go to class. They're in clubs, they're studying, they're working, all these things. But then sometimes you're like, oh, I only had like an 8 a.m. and a 9 a.m. Like, I have the whole rest of the day. What am I going to do with my time? What do people do with their time when it's like this open? How, like, what do you pick up?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So. And
that's what you're going through right now. You're like, if you have any hobbies,
I'm like,
you're like, what do you
literally
do with
tell
this
me anything.
time?
I have so much time on my hands.
Crafting, arts.
Yeah, I need to work on that.
Are you a good artist?
God, no. So bad.
You could be.
I don't have the patience for it.
I can feel that.
I
so
wish I did.
The pictures in the back there of Jimi Hendrix.
Oh my gosh.
For
No,
anybody
I
watching,
love
you can't even
art.
see it.
I love art, but I do not have
Music?
very good patience.
Can you play anything?
No.
Can you sing?
No.
All
my eggs are in one basket here. They're all in one basket.
That's the thing, though. You think that, but then the more you try stuff out, this stuff
Yeah.
you're gonna find.
I'll find
like,
my niche.
Oh, you were
My
good
niche.
at this. These are just like, these are overrated anyway. This is what everyone becomes an artist. Everyone becomes a singer.
No, not overrated.
Find your niche. This is a running joke within people with me. I'm gonna make a TikTok and an Instagram rating traffic signal lights. Like ones that have longer stops, ones that have
6 out of
quicker
10.
greens, ones that have the arrows.
That's kind of funny.
And you think about it, you're like, wow, that sounds so dumb. And I thought that too. But then I thought about it one day. I'm like, that's not the worst thing if it's very niche, like say to Spokane, because there's some that have the green arrows that never become green arrows.
Yeah,
and it's
never.
You
but
need
why?
to know, like, the minute it hits, you need to go.
Go.
You gotta go.
You have like 2 seconds to get all the way through the intersection.
For anybody watching or listening, I'm not becoming a traffic signal.
It's a new thing. I might, though.
You might. Maybe that's your thing. Maybe
I'll let you guys
become a
know.
star. I'm gonna see you, and I'm gonna be like, that was my idea.
Yeah, like,
She stole my idea. I'm just gonna be begrudgingly thinking that. As we wrap up, though, here, I really hope that you heal
Thank you.
fully and don't push yourself. I'm sure you hear that all the time. I hate that when I get hurt. It's like, don't push yourself. Don't push yourself. It's like, I know my body.
I'm fine.
And then 2 days later, I'm back like, oh my gosh, hey, I'm hurt again.
No, thank you.
Now my knee hurts. Not my knee. Not
Everything
my calf.
hurts.
Everything hurts now. But I really do wish you a full recovery.
Thank you.
When you get down there and you're playing, I need to tell me how to get a jersey.
Okay, I'll let you know.
I want to get a jersey. Are you like, I'm the same way right now, right? You're like,
yeah, I'm like, I need a
jersey
jersey too.
No, when you're
I'll
actually
definitely
playing,
let you know.
I need to know how to get a jersey, because that was the first thing when I said get jersey. I want to try to get either was a jersey or a jersey.
Yeah.
The Gonzaga players that I know were worked with when they.
Oh, that's super cool.
Because I think it would just be so cool.
That's
actually,
sick.
My biggest thing right now that I'm so excited. So I got to work basketball 2 years now. I got to work in the COVID year. I actually got to be there and see it played and stuff. And then I got to work it this year. And my favorite team my whole life in basketball was the Orlando Magic. So when Suggs got drafted there.
Super pumped.
So the last game, senior night, I was working it. I was doing like photos and videos and stuff. And after the game, I waited and got Suggs to sign my Suggs jersey that I got. And I was like,
cool.
This is the peak. This is my Gonzaga
I have
peak.
made it.
There's nothing else I could do here at Gonzaga that's going to be
awesome.
top this moment. So now I'm like, now I want to just do this. I'm going to get the jersey. I'm going to get people to sign it. I'm going to have like my little Gonzaga or my interview hall. I want to actually go back, because this is episode 38 of this podcast.
Oh, wow.
And I want to go back and like have people, because we've had
all
some
of them.
people on. I mean, we've had some really cool people.
That's
Obviously,
so
you're
cool.
here. But I want to go back and like get something like, I had the person that this hat is. I want him to sign the hat.
Oh,
like,
cool.
That make it so much better.
That'd be really cool.
Get
Well, and then you have
mementos.
like a memory attached to it too.
Well, yeah. So this is why I like in person so much more, because you have the memories.
Yeah.
Like I never felt like I needed to get something.
Yeah.
Like I have memories from just about every interview I've ever done in person. My best memory ever is I interviewed Waka Flocka
No way.
in 2015
That's sick.
in New Haven, Connecticut, on his tour bus. Right? Yeah.
Whoa.
We went on his tour bus. So it was me and my my partner at the time. His name's Brandon Gill. He was my sound guy. So it was me and him, and it was Flocka and DJ Woo Kid, who was his tour DJ at the time. Now DJ Woo Kid's big. He's on Shade 45.
That's
he's like
so
their
cool.
afternoon drive show. He's huge, or maybe he's their Friday night show, whatever. He's huge. And like, you just think about it. You're sitting down. You're in this chair with a microphone, and Waka Flocka is like where you
I
are
would
right
freak
now,
out.
and you're just talking to him about like the same thing, like it's casual conversation. And then at the end, like, it's Waka Flocka, he's smoking, and we all got to smoke with Waka Flocka.
No
I don't
way.
smoke, but like when you have an opportunity to do that with Waka Flocka,
Gotta take
you gotta
it.
do it with Waka Flocka. So, like, you got memories like that. Like, I
That's
don't feel like I need
insane.
anything else because you have the story of smoking with Waka
Yeah.
Flocka. Like, I was so, like, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know. And then as I was about to leave, he was smoking, and he, like, offered, like, we were all out the door. Brandon was out the door. I was walking out, and he offered one more time. I was like, I have to do this.
I
Like,
gotta take it.
I can't pass this up. And I was like, I have to do this.
That's
so, like,
awesome.
that's not my thing. I don't smoke at all. But that one time, it was like,
I did it that
have
one
to
time.
do it that one time. And it's a story I'll have for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
and that's
that's
why I like. But now I'm like, because it's on Zoom and there's not as much like there's some cool stuff that still happens. Like, I get Christmas cards from people I've interviewed.
Oh, cool.
Like, and that's so cool. Like, when you're going through your email and you're like, oh, like, this
Aw.
person kept me in their
Yeah.
Rolodex, not their Rolodex, their contacts.
Yeah.
To show that, like, yeah, they appreciated coming on and stuff like that. And I've made cool contacts, like Vince Papali, who, you know, the movie Invincible with Mark
Yeah.
Wahlberg, the actual Vince Papali. I've interviewed him like 7 times.
Whoa, that's so cool.
And like he like knows who I am. Like, I could text him now and be like, "What's
Hey.
up, Vince?"
That's so sick.
And it's like cool things like that.
Yeah.
But like, I want something that I could put in like an office.
Yeah.
Like, things hanging around.
No, that's
So,
really cool.
To go back to that, when the jersey comes, you let me know.
I'll let you know. I'll hit your
It'll
line.
be in my cart. I
Yes.
will purchase it, and then I'll send it back to you and say,
Perfect, and then
throw,
I'll
throw the signature
send
on
back.
it and send it right back here.
Maybe that's what I'll work on my signature over these 9 months.
That'd be good.
Because
Yeah.
it's so bad.
That'd be good.
So
is
bad.
it when you went to training camp? Is it kind of like a fanfare like that at all? Like,
No, I mean,
because it was indoors.
everything
you
was
said.
pretty closed. Like, they weren't open training sessions,
Mm-hmm.
so no one was really there. But like, we went to the Wizards game to like be honored at halftime, and like tons of people came up and
That's
were like,
awesome.
"Oh my gosh!" Like, I was sitting next to Ashley Hatch, and so many people came up and were like, "You're my hero! Like, this is so cool! Like, it's so nice to meet you!" And
That's
I was
amazing.
like, "This is so cool!"
You just want to take your phone and start recording.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
like, I
like-
can't do that. I can't do that. I'm on the team. Actually, I have 2 things before we wrap up. I want to
Yes.
talk about. So one, just came to my head. I meant to ask this really early on. I want your thoughts on the U.S. women's. What, did they reach a settlement or they won the case?
So it is contingent upon the CB. I believe it's contingent upon the CBA being ratified.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. It's contingent on something. However, freaking huge. Like,
Huge.
that's so cool. And I mean, it just speaks a lot to the work that has been put in behind the scenes and by all the women that have played on the team and are coming after them. Like, the work that they did for the players that are coming after them is like unbelievable.
So when you said the CBA, I heard that too. Not to cut you off. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
When you say the CBA, was this a push to get paid more, or was this supposed to be a negotiation that wouldn't happen? Do you know?
I don't really know much about the U.S. one.
Yeah, because I remember.
I mean, it was an equal pay lawsuit is what it
That's
was.
what
And
I-
it was a
that's
push
what
to
I
get
thought, too.
equal pay because they win more than the men's team does, and they get paid significantly less than the men's team
But
does.
that's what I was asking, because when I researched it, like, I don't like watching a documentary or a video on something
Mm-hmm.
because it's always a swing.
Yeah.
That's the problem with documentaries, and I tell people this all the time. They watch a documentary, like, can you believe this? And I'm like, well, what's on
Bias.
the other side?
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Like,
Huh?
they sucked. What do you mean? It's
Yeah.
like, no. You got to look at both sides. And when I looked at both sides, like, first of all, I'm totally on. They should be paid more. So I don't want it. It may sound off. It's not. Trust me. This is a pro women's podcast. Trust me. I had plenty of people on here to talk about. Actually, I think my last 3 guests.
That's
now,
awesome.
I had you. I had Justine Siegel. I had Dan Hughes, who is the WNBA coach for the
Oh,
Storm.
cool.
So like, hey, trust me. But when I watched it, I'm just spitting facts here
Yeah.
now that I researched. So what happened was they wanted to be paid more,
Mm-hmm.
but the reason they wouldn't go against it and the reason it got turned down was because when they agreed on the original contract, the women wanted things that, so the men's team got all their stuff from their other teams, like the clubs overseas and stuff like that, like health and dental and stuff like that, and the women's team didn't get that, so they wanted that part of it, and that's why they got less money originally. But then they're like, well, when we win the cup, we don't get the same amount as if the men win the cup.
Yeah.
Like, what's up with that? And that's where the argument started, and that's when it started to come off. So that's when I was wondering, like, so they signed that original contract, knowing they're going to be paid less? Is this like a lawsuit because of it's unfair, or were they trying to renegotiate and they said, no, we're not going to renegotiate this because obviously they're saving money, they're paying them less, and then it became a law? That's what I was wondering, because I couldn't find.
Yeah, I have no idea, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know that much.
I know there was a lot that just came out there, but like,
no, I mean,
love to research things before I just jump right on a side.
Yeah, that makes sense. I honestly don't know enough about it to really talk about it or like
it's still huge
on it. Like, I'm just pumped that they got it and
yeah.
that they put in so much work for it and that it's finally kind of coming to fruition.
It's huge,
for
and
them.
I'm happy it's happening.
Yeah.
I don't want anything I just said to make it sound like it's not. I have to reiterate that as much as I can.
Fine.
Not just for you, for anybody listening.
For anyone
like,
listening.
This guy hates women. What's going on with him? Like,
not the case.
I just want to put everything. Like, I like hearing both sides of things and stuff like that. And it doesn't matter if it's documentary or a video that's done. You have to put your side, because if that becomes big and they're like, oh, that side's correct. I mean, they made a documentary. They wouldn't make a documentary on the wrong side.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, both sides have their cases and stuff like. So I wanted to know about that. And then another thing, so NYCFC won the MLS Cup. I don't know if you saw that. I think they beat Portland, right? So they got their banner unveiled recently. Did you see this?
I haven't.
Oh, I might have to show you. I don't even know if I could show you, but the banner was tiny. Like, it looked like a high school, like, senior night banner that's hanging up at Yankee Stadium for their championship.
Oh, cool.
No,
but it's
not
tiny.
Cool. It's
not cool.
tiny. It's like this big.
Oh.
It's like,
that's annoying.
If you're at the stadium and you're looking, you're like, what is that blue square doing up there? I saw it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what? I think this is my thought on it. Again, not much research put into this other than seeing it and being like,
why?
They won the championship.
Yeah.
It's at Yankee Stadium, NYCFC plays. So they have these giant banners of every year the Yankees, and they have this little square that says NYCFC too. I think it's because NYCFC is trying to get their own stadium. So they're like, why would we put so much money into a banner hanging here if they're just going to up and leave? And
I don't know anything about that
That's what
either.
I think. But I didn't know if you knew anything. I just wanted to know if you saw, like...
No, I haven't seen it. I'll have to go look it up
it's
afterwards.
Like, you see 3 people, like, lift this little... Probably kid's blanket.
That's a bummer.
NYCFC champions, and everyone's like,
interesting. Or they could be waiting for a new one, maybe.
That could be possible. I would hope at that point, whole off season, they won the. I feel like the day they won, you get it designed. The next day, you send it out for, and it comes
that's
in.
true.
But I think it's because, I mean, NYCFC won. They should probably get their own stadium. Get out of Yankee Stadium. It's not the best place for a soccer game. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever seen a baseball stadium, soccer stadium.
Oh, yeah, it's not good.
It doesn't look good. And there's no really good seating.
No,
and
it's awful.
The worst part is the wall is, like, super dangerous because it's so close to the field. Yeah. If you're running down the sideline.
Super narrow.
Yeah. So I just wanted to know if you saw that.
No, I have. I'll go look that up after,
definitely look that up, and you're going to be like, what? You're going to text, like, I just saw this. What is happening?
Yeah, what the heck?
What the heck is that? But thanks for joining.
Of course.
Great topics. I'm sure you're like, what is this dude talking
No,
about?
I love it. It was awesome.
It goes a little off topic sometimes, but where can people find you if they're trying to look for you? And obviously, like, if they're looking for it, not like your actual location. I saw you go like, what? I don't want people looking for me. I mean, like, Instagram, Twitter,
social media.
Can you give your address?
Yeah, like
probably the padlock
security.
on the gate would be nice too.
My like, you want my handles?
Yes.
My Instagram handle, it's kind of long, is Jordan with an A, an underscore, and then Bailey, BAAAILEY.
3 A's.
3 A's. And then my Twitter handle, I don't do much on Twitter, but I favorite and retweet stuff, is the same thing, at Jordan. This one's a little different, though. It's BAYLEE. They didn't have...
E's at the end.
Yeah, so it's a different spelling because they didn't have... Someone with, like, how I spell my middle name had that taken already.
With 3 A's?
With 3 A's, I know. And then it's BAAYLEE on Twitter. Oh, gosh.
These will all be in the description.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I just wanted you to also spell it out. Because that's like kind of how you wrap it up. This is where you find you.
Yes.
And
then TikTok recently started one. I don't have a lot going on, but I'm pretty much just tracking my, like, ACL journey. And
that's awesome.
What kind of...
That's a good use of TikTok.
Yeah, what kind of, like, everyday rehab looks like, what I've been doing, how I'm feeling, stuff like that. So if you want to follow that, it's Jordan B. Thompson 8. So
that's more like, that's almost like your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's just super buttoned up and everything.
Yeah, that one is just clean and concise. The Instagram and Twitter handle are a little more.
All right, so are the handles like that because of your personality, or did you make them so long ago?
I made them in like 8th grade, and I haven't figured out how to change. I would try. Well, I think I tried on both of them to just do Jordan Bailey, but Bailey with 1 A was taken, Bailey with 2 A's was taken, but Bailey with 3 A's wasn't taken.
Okay.
So it was just like a trial and error kind of situation.
Want it first middle, not first last.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's something that people do. It's especially after. So I saw it a lot when people get married. They put their middle name because people are like, well, if you look for my last name, you're not going to find it. But then a lot of people start doing that because it makes it harder for people to search for you.
That's true too.
So if you don't want just anybody always just searching,
finding you, yeah.
Especially as an athlete, I'm sure you don't want some person that's like, I mean, Spokane's known for the homeless population. I don't know if they can get on a phone, but you don't want them just looking and then following you and knowing everything you're up to or something like that. So I know a lot of people that do first middle for that reason.
Yeah, no, I didn't have a rhyme or reason behind it just because I don't know, I guess it sounded good. But everyone did think Bailey was my last name. Thompson is my last name, Bailey's the middle name, even though it's on there.
I do realize I just said some homeless person going to watch you play soccer and then go on their internet.
It's okay. You never know. They might. Who knows?
The 10 cities around here. That 10 city coming on to the highway from the South Hill has gotten...
It's a lot. I'm glad they have a place to stay safely.
Yes. Yeah.
Glad that they have a place to stay
safely.
Well,
it started as a protest, apparently.
Interesting.
And then grew into, like, people staying there.
Okay.
So it's like, I think it was people were protesting and people were like, oh, this is a place we could stay.
Yeah.
But there are people that drop stuff off all the time and stuff. That's another
that's a whole other
that's
can
a
of
big
worms.
topic that can go like it's I feel so bad. It's not even anything other than like if there was rehabilitation instead of just, hey, you can go here without anybody kicking you out. Like they think it's such a good idea. It's not. You got to rehabilitate. Give a 6-month job program or something. I can go
Yeah,
all day on that.
That's a whole thing.
That's something that's completely off topic and will make us go much longer than probably should. But all right, so you can find her there. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
We all wish you a very speedy recovery.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Safe, and full recovery.
Yes.
So it might not be as
3 favorite things. Well, thanks so much for having me, too.
Yeah,
this is
of course.
awesome.
Thanks for coming in, and you can find her there. And thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Another great guest on All Ears. You can catch us at Schnabel Studios anywhere. We are Schnabel Studios Production. If you go on Instagram, it's Schnabel, SCHNABEL .studios. To find us there. On Twitter, it's SCHNABEL Studios, no dot. And you can find us there. You can also find, if you're listening on YouTube, Schnabel Studios, same spelling as the other two. There you can find All Ears. You can find Sketching Up. You can find other videos that I've produced. There's some new ones going out there, especially ones that we've done for tennis, Gonzaga tennis that are going out there. So you can find it all there. If you want to follow me personally, on Twitter, I'm Chris, CHRIS, M as in Michael, Schnabel, SCHNABEL, all one word on Twitter. On Instagram, I am just Chris Schnabel. There is no M in the middle. You can find me on there as well. Thank you for listening to another episode. 38 episodes we've had here. A couple name changes, but we are still going strong. Thank you, Jordan, for joining us. And thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next time on All Ears with Chris Schnabel.